Hi, Mark here. It is Monday, February the 9th, going on 8 a.m. Eastern, going on 1 p.m. GMT. US session now underway. Let's have a look how the markets shape up this morning after a volatile week on the markets last week. US dollar index being sold off. Continuing from Friday's sell-off, I've got support at 97.01 and that being tested right now as the US session starts. I've got resistance at 97.54. Interesting, I put in the end of last week the fib retracement tool measuring the downtrend that we've seen in January. Here's the fight back. Buyers broke through the first fib retracement level easily, the 38.2% and the 50%. However, it did get held up at the third level, the 61.8%, and that's at 97.77. You can see where it got held up here, and that has held so far and did give us a signal for a bounce lower. So far has played out. We'll see whether sellers continue to maintain control through today's US session, as they are doing now, testing that 97 support level, or if buyers do step in and we see a turnaround and buyers look back up at the 97.54 resistance level. Let's have a look at the S&P 500. We're looking at the futures market. Good hour and a half until Wall Street opens up. There's the fight back we saw after a strong sell-off last week. On Friday, we had a strong fight back on the S&P, bullish engulfing candlestick. Hasn't been able to maintain the gap higher to open, gap higher to 6,972, almost up at that 7,000, looking for that 7,000 level on the upside. But sellers in the futures market, sellers did step in, sold off down to support at 6,922. Buyers have since stepped in. You can see the little wick left behind here. We'll see whether buyers can continue with Friday's rally, wipe out the deficit, the losses we've seen in the futures market, and get back up to that resistance level and look for the 7,000 level. Or if sellers maintain and look to retest the support from earlier in the futures market at 6,922. Let's have a look at gold. Big sell-off we saw last week, a really strong sell-off, over $1,000 in 3 days. Gold has fought back. Certainly traders see the value in gold. Nothing's changed fundamentally. I think more of a technical and overbought conditions, but gold fighting its way back, a gap open to a gap higher to start the new week. Got support at 4,965, resistance at 5,051. Buyers will look to test that resistance or higher. If sellers do step in again, they'll be looking down at the 5,000 level on the downside. Let's have a look at Brent oil. Brent oil off to a strong start to the week. Have a look at the succession since the beginning of the year of higher lows all the way. Could be another higher low, this latest one from Friday. Today so far, green candlestick, buyers in control at this point. I've got support at 67.14. I've got resistance at 68.42. We'll see where the buyers can retest and break above that level, or if sellers look down at the 67 level. But a strong start to the week on Brent oil. And then let's have a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, after extreme sell-off, which we've seen the whole of last month in January. This month we have a bit of a fight back. On Friday we saw the fight back. There's the green candlestick. Buyers unable to add to that so far over the weekend. And today to start the week, I've got resistance at 71.5 thousand. I've got support at 68.3 thousand. Tight range for now. Buyers certainly haven't been able to break above this resistance level and to wipe out the big loss that we saw at the end of last week. If sellers continue with what we've seen and this downtrend, they'll be looking to break below the 68.3 with 60,000 the downside target. If buyers do manage to turn things around, certainly the 71,500 is the first level on the upside. But at this point, Bitcoin hasn't recovered. Buyers trend and sentiment, to me, still looking very bearish. Good trading. Keep that discipline. I'll see you at the end of the day session.